Speaking of which, like obviously you've had great success in the competitive scene. I'd like to talk to you and pick your brain a little bit about your thoughts about being a professional grappler, because this is what you do full time. Did you ever perceive that would be an opportunity? Did you I guess early on, as you were deciding to branch away from MMA and more into the grappling side, did you see potential to be doing just to be a full time grappler, or is this just a passion thing that ended up becoming a career?
Yeah, pretty much from day one, I knew I wanted to do it full time and look to be the best in the world that I could be.
That's excellent.
But the plan was always MMA. It was just that at the time that I switched over to grappling full time, all these things were sort of happening, like Metamoris and EBI had just started. So it seemed to me that there were some opportunities to actually make some decent money in this, and that it was sort of becoming like almost a smaller version of MMA. So it's like, well, I'll focus on this. And I think that when you get really good at one thing, it's easier to get good at the other things. If you learn some patterns to getting really good at grappling, you can apply some of those same patterns to getting good at striking. So that kind of played into it as well. Yeah, I felt like if I had one area where I could take people to where I would have an advantage, if I could get people into the grappling phase in an MMA fight, that would be really advantageous for me, rather than just being like solid across the board, have one thing that I'm a specialist in, I thought would give me an advantage. So.
That's outstanding, man. Well, the interesting thing about people who are pursuing a life as a full-time grappler now, number one, it's obviously it goes without saying how incredibly awesome that is that it even exists. Because I think for a lot of us that started jiu-jitsu many years ago, the idea of someone being able to be a full-time competitor was just a complete dream. It wasn't reality yet for a lot of us when we first started. So it's so cool to see the sport growing in a way that allows for that. But secondly, I feel like even for people that don't reach the highest levels, it's a great investment of your youth and your time, because at the end of the day, if you become a well-recognized and well-developed competitor, a lot of times you'll be able to become a great teacher too.
Exactly.
That experience will definitely help you. It's kind of like going to a university and spending time in university, so then you can get into a great career afterwards based on your merits. So so I think it's a great path for people.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that everyone who's doing this as a full-time thing should be looking to teach at some point, just because we're not going to be able to do this forever. So you're going to have to pay the bills through teaching eventually.